All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves, it's been a while, been at least like a week, maybe 2 weeks, since we've seen a Glaive Keo video up here live on the channel. And boy, oh boy, I do gotta say, the man has kinda been farming. And one of the big objects, one of the big targets of his farming has been nothing other than the Genshin Impact Miliastra Wonderland. Yes, the UGC, which I've been on the record saying is one of the most predatory and one of the most awful things that I've ever seen added to the game. And it appears that due to the crazy response that we've been seeing on these videos, right? 80k views is nuts. Most of the player base of Genshin Impact seems to be agreeing with this exact take. Hoyo's ignoring you. It's underbaked. It's undercooked. There's no free-to-play pulls. It's a bit of a disaster. So why don't we go ahead and see what some of the updates on the situation have been? Because I think Glaive is taking some of the community's thoughts regarding the matter in his response over here. And let's check it all out.
Some time ago, we talked about the launch of Miliastra Wonderland in Genshin Impact and the less than stellar reception it received. Judging by the response to that video, it seems a lot of you shared those frustrations. The confusing monetization, the hostile free-to-play systems, the feeling that something just wasn't right. Well, it's been
I think the part about the UGC that I'm just the most turned off from is the fact that there's no free-to-play pulls for their premium outfits, and the only ways to unlock their premium outfits is A, purchase it yourself using the pulls, or B, have somebody on your friends list buy it for you. And that option, when there's no free-to-play pulls at all, almost makes it seem like, hey, the only way to grind for the new outfit as a free-to-play player is to wiggle your way into some random stranger's DMs and convince them to buy it for you. Hey guys, does this sound like something that's going to end up going very well for the underage population of Genshin Impact? You probably guessed the same exact thing as me. You're going to end up with a lot of 40-year-olds coming in contact with a bunch of, I don't know, probably minors. And they're going to have some conversations and, you know, somebody's going to be sent a couple $100s worth in outfits or two. What's the exchange that's going to happen because of that? Who knows? But all I know is this just sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. And that's what my biggest concern is. But don't worry, all the other shit that Glaive just mentioned, they're also massive problems. But let's just keep seeing though.
Around a week since the launch, and the situation hasn't exactly improved. In fact, it has taken a couple of rather dramatic turns, fueled primarily by one thing: silence. Complete deafening silence from Hoyoverse regarding the massive backlash. Today, we are going to look at the fallouts from that silence, how it seems to have escalated player frustration, led to some unconventional actions, and what it might mean for the future for this mode and player trust.
The best thing they can do for this mode is just remove it. I'm not even joking. I think the biggest complaint that I've seen from people is the fact that it apparently made the Genshin Impact file size on mobile 20 gigs higher. And people are just like, please remove this from the fucking game so that I can save like 10 to 20 gigs on my installation. My phone does not have enough space because you added this dog shit in version 6.1. That's the #1 complaint I've seen. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of relevant when phones typically have like 512 gigs of storage available. Keep in mind the operating system on the phone, you get to around like 300 gigs of storage. Miliastra Wonderland by itself is like a significant portion of your overall storage on your phone. And there are people that just don't even want to engage with it at all.
You appreciate these kinds of breakdowns and want to stay
512 is generous. Some only have like 64 or 128. The average is 256. Oh, okay. So Miliastra Wonderland is on average around 10 to 15% of somebody's overall storage on their phone, just on Miliastra Wonderland. There's literally tutorials on how to remove it.
Updated, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really does help. So, Miliastra Wonderland launched around a week ago, on the 22nd, and the reaction, well, as we discussed in the last video, and judging by how many of you watched and agreed, the negative sentiment isn't just a loud minority, it is widespread, and it hasn't gone away. If anything, the initial shock seems to have settled into a kind of solid frustration.
And I'm so happy that the Genshin player base is responding in this way. It would be amazing if Miliastra Wonderland is like the feature update, like the patch that ends up waking up the player base to Hoyoverse. And it's like fucking, it's absurd money grubbing practices that it's exposed itself of performing over the past couple of months. Like you have let's just run down the list, right? Exploration locked behind limited banners. Endgame locked behind limited banners. Everything in the fucking game being locked behind limited banners, including reworks to the elemental system to make things like Electrocharge playable. Yeah, you gotta pull a limited character to get the reworks. That should be given out for free. Hopefully, Miliastra Wonderland is like the straw that breaks the camel's back and has the player base reflecting on all of the other decisions that have driven this game into the fucking ground over the past 2 years. And then, that might be what actually gets Hoyoverse off its lazy bum-ass, money-grubbing ass. And they can actually make some real changes to fix the game. But then again, I don't think that they're going to do it. I don't think they're listening. And this whole video is about the fact that the devs aren't fucking listening. So, yeah, that's just my pipe dream.
The core complaints remain the same. The aggressive monetization, the confusing currencies, the insulting free-to-play system, the bugs, the feeling that it is just unfinished. But what is perhaps more significant now is the response from Hoyoverse, or rather, the lack of one.
And this is where Wuthering Waves, Duet Night Abyss, fuck, even Chaos Zero Nightmare with fast developer responses to an upset player base, this is where it's going to do some big damage to Hoyoverse. Because guess what, guys? People are used to, when the devs make a tremendous fuck up, an immediate address of it and acknowledgement. And this is a massive fuck up, and Hoyo's just being radio silent, as they always are whenever they ruin the game. And the thing is that the only times that they've responded publicly to backlash is when they're threatening to get sued by the Chinese government. Yeah. That's pretty much it. When they're about to go under legal troubles in China, that's the only fucking time they'll address the situation. Think about things, right? Like the nerf to Nouvelette to remove his fucking autistic spin mechanic. The autistic people playing really wanted that, and so they threatened to sue the company if they removed it. Compensation, and it gets added back into the game. Zhongli releasing as a pile of steaming dog shit. Yeah. People said they were disrespecting China. Can't have that, so they buffed him on release, right? It's like things like that. It needs to involve China in some way. Honestly, UGC creators, maybe you gotta sneak in like something about, I don't know, you know, there's certain ban top. Maybe just start sneaking those into your UGC game modes. Then Hoyo will get in trouble because of the UGC in China. And then they'll maybe do something to actually address it.
This massive, near-universal outcry across pretty much every platform, Twitter, Reddit, even their own website, HoyoLab, you name it, Hoyoverse has remained completely silent. Nothing. No official statements acknowledging the feedback, no developer letters explaining their reasoning, not even a vague promise to look into it, just, silence.
That's the Hoyoverse motto. It's literally add shit that objectively makes the game worse, ignore feedback, and then hope that people are just gonna forget about it or think it's not that big of a deal weeks from now, and then just move on to the next thing. It is tried and tested, and it's only possible when your player base is full of retarded sheep. And Hoyo's player base is full of retarded sheep, so it works out for them. Everyone else just quits and moves on to different games. And that's why there are so few veteran Genshin players nowadays. There are very, very few actual veteran Genshin players. What the game does is it's so popular and it's so big that it basically just like rotates its player base every couple of like years. New people come in, a shit ton of people quit, and their release cycle of units, where everyone is just 30 times more broken than the last, is coinciding with that change that they're having in the player base. Who the fuck cares if Hu Tao, Child, and all these units are dog shit? Nobody has them because all the people that had them quit the game. And so it only matters how strong Mavawika is, how strong Flynn's is, how strong Barisa is, because everyone has those units. It's just, yeah, it's a revolving door of players, 1,000,000%.
And this silence, it is noteworthy. It stands out. Think about how much hype they put into this mode before launch, am I right? The long segments in the live streams, the dedicated trailers,
My favorite part is them forcing their VAs to be overly excited about this dog shit game mode, and then they talk about it for more than 50% of the 6.1 live stream. And it is like the worst shit ever.
And we happen to have a quick
22 minutes out of 47-45 is spent on this dog shit Miliastra Wonderland garbage. Basically, 50% of the fucking live stream is spent on this garbage dog shit. And all you see are like these VAs lying through their fucking teeth about how excited they are for this game mode. The dislikes on this should be way higher.
Web events, they really tried pushing Miliastra Wonderland to go from that level of marketing to complete radio silence. When the launch is clearly facing major issues, it feels jarring, don't you think? And more than that, it leaves players feeling ignored. It reinforces that cynical feeling many already have. You know, the comments like, I'm going to have so much fun complaining on the surveys, followed immediately by the thought, as if they listened to previous surveys, when the feedback is this loud and this negative, and the response is just silence.
Y'all remember that survey from, I think it was in February of this year's 9 months ago. That survey from 9 months ago where they said, hey, are you kind of annoyed with how the weekly material system is set up? Are you annoyed that you can't farm for the character that just released until like 2 days from now? Yeah, they just wiped their fucking asshole with it and then threw it in the garbage bin. Yeah, that's what they did with the responses. I think it's pretty much 100% proven that's literally what happened. Because, yeah, that survey has not seen the light of day since.
It doesn't exactly build confidence that feedback matters. In the face of such clear, widespread problems, this kind of silence can easily be interpreted as, well, indifference. Or maybe just arrogance, like they just don't think the complaints are valid. Or perhaps, like usual, they just hope it'll all blow over if they ignore it long enough.
Yep.
And this silence, this feeling of being ignored, that seems to have led to the next rather dramatic turn in this whole situation, which is that the official Miliastra Wonderland account on Twitter was suspended.
What? I'm sorry. How did that even happen? How did that even happen? Did they already know that it was going to be a platform used to groom children, and so they just preemptively banned it? Like, did they just know that Miliastra Wonderland was going to be like it was going to result in children being groomed? Because, like I said before, there's no free-to-play pulls, and so the only way to get the premium outfits is to either spend hundreds of dollars or go make a friend.
Just gone. I mean, at least for a while. And now we don't have an official statement from Hoyoverse explaining exactly why, but the widely accepted theory, the one everyone is talking about, is that it was due to mass reporting. That is, enough dissatisfied players reported the account that it triggered an automatic suspension.
And I think there are people that are going to say, oh, this is just disgruntled woo-wah players that did this. No. I think this is Genshin Impact players that are pissed off that did this. Genuinely.
The community reaction to that theory wasn't exactly subtle. People were saying things like, ain't no way, this is the funniest thing I've seen all week. The update was so bad that the account for Miliastra Wonderland got mass reported. And now, regardless of whether you agree with the mass reporting as a tactic, you have to see this as an escalation. It suggests players felt that the normal feedback channels, survey, comments, maybe even customer support weren't working, that their grievances weren't being heard.
This looks so shit, bro. It's like, yeah, let me go log into this game and then go play games that look like they were made in fucking 2005. Seriously?
So it seems they took a lot more direct and certainly more disruptive action.
Who the fuck is playing this? Who's playing this? Like, what is this? Why would you even spend time in this game mode? This has to be some of the worst shit I've ever seen. This is 2025, bro. You're gonna spend your time playing this shit in 2025.
Against an official communication channel. It is a pretty clear signal of extreme dissatisfaction, tied directly back to the core problems. As that same comment highlighted, like, no one wants this update. No one is going to pay over $100 for a skin for a...
Bruh, for $150, I'll just buy myself a whole ass IRL outfit. Guys, For the cost of one Miliastra Wonderland outfit, guys, I could go to like the mall and buy like 7 good outfits. I'm not even joking. I could go buy like 7 good outfits. I would look fucking clean for 150 bucks.
Random character, and official accounts apparently brought down by player action. You would expect the rest of the community to be, you know, maybe concerned, maybe discuss platform rules. Well, the actual reaction was something else entirely. Instead of concern, the overwhelming response was just amusement, jokes, memes. Specifically, people started flooding comment sections under posts reporting the suspension with variations of the "if you laugh" meme, implying that finding this situation funny sends you straight to hell. But laughing anyway, and the amusement wasn't attached. There was a strong undercurrent of people explicitly saying the suspension was deserved, that the account representing this mode earned this outcome because of how bad the mode itself is.
And this is what I meant by, I could view Miliastra Wonderland as the straw that breaks the camel's back and has the whole Genshin player base introspecting and reflecting on the dog shit practices of this company over the past entire 2 years. That's what I meant, because you can look at those accounts, you can look at the research, and those are Genshin Andes. Those are dudes that have a fucking PhD in slurping up Dway's cum. They have so much fucking experience doing all of that, and they are upset. Those individuals are the ones that are upset with the update. And that takes a lot to do. It takes a lot to do that.
Because of the predatory monetization, because of the Hoyoverse's silence, because of a lot of things. And that reaction, the laughter, the memes, right? The feeling that it was deserved is perhaps even more telling than the suspension itself. It shows that the player sentiment, at least regarding Miliastra Wonderland, has moved beyond simple disappointment. It has shifted into outright mockery, rejection. There doesn't seem to be any sympathy left for this particular venture. The goodwill, if there ever was much to begin with after launch, appears to be completely gone. When players are laughing at the downfall of an official communication channel for a new feature, it signals a profound disconnect, a complete breakdown of any positive feeling towards it. And in the face of this level of community rejection, Hoyoverse's continued silence becomes, well, even more conspicuous. It is really obvious and it just stands out. Because now, the silence isn't just in response to angry comments, it follows a dramatic, visible event, like their official Twitter account getting suspended, presumably due to that anger, and that ongoing silence. It just amplifies everything. It makes the situation look worse.
Now I want to see if there's actually been a response on the account. Let's check it out. They just made a post 9 hours ago. Hey, look at all these popular stages. Let's see what this advertisement looks like. Looks like shit. Okay, they got one from October 31st. Let's check this out. I've never been so bored in my life. All right. They have their developers listened one over here. Oh, but are they addressing any actual issues, or are they just posting ads for the most boring looking game modes I've ever seen? This is just posting ads for the most boring fucking game modes ever. Okay. Yeah, they're not, yeah, okay. Surely he'll get into that one listen post that they have.
It can easily come across as tone deaf, like they either don't know what's happening or they do know and they just don't care. The feeling gets reinforced that they are deliberately ignoring how severe the backlash actually is. And this kind of inaction, it has consequences. It damages the relationship between the players and the developer. Trust erodes. It wears away, slowly getting destroyed. I mean, think about it. If you have a legitimate widespread concerns about monetization, about bugs, about feeling misled, and the company you're giving your time and maybe even your money to responds with nothing. Absolute silence. I mean, why would you trust them next time?
I think this is what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a reported case of grooming on the platform, and Hoyo's just gonna hold radio silent even while that one is happening. I am 99% sure there have actually already been grooming cases on the UGC for people trying to earn their premium outfit. I'm 99% sure it's already occurred. I'm just waiting for that dam to burst. And oh my gosh, the farming of that situation is going to be, I think it might become bigger than the Roblox one. if I'm frankly being real, because I don't think there are any sort of like limitations. There's like nothing built in place in this dogshit UGC Miliastra dogshit. I don't think there's anything even in there to prevent any of this grooming shit from even happening. And that to me is like the craziest part, that has not even been accounted for. The fact that they even have that gifting system in the game.
Why would you bother giving constructive feedback in the future if you feel like it just goes into a void? This dynamic makes players less likely to engage properly, and maybe more likely to resort to things like, well, mass reporting. It is a missed opportunity, really. Even a simple acknowledgement would have been something, right? A quick post saying, we hear your feedback about Miliastra Wonderland, and we are looking into the issues.
Let's see what's in their feedback post then. So all they've done is they've only addressed the people that are making the stages. There's absolutely no address over here for things like the monetization, for not being able to get anything free to play, for gender locked outfits, those complaints. It's literally just, oh yeah, our rewards were dog shit. Our rewards for the people making content for us for free, we had dog shit rewards for them, and so we're gonna make them slightly better. I knew there was a reason why during this fucking live stream where they were talking about how amazing the benefits were, right? All they did was talk about how good the incentives were. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many incentives. I now know why they never gave a number for how good the incentives were, because apparently they were fucking dog shit. Who could have thought? Who could have thought that they were fucking bad?
Or, we understand the concerns regarding monetization and are discussing it internally. Anything would have been better than just this silence. But instead, we got this void. And that silence is allowing the frustration and the mockery to fester, making it harder to see how they can possibly turn the situation around for Miliastra Wonderland.
Well, they've had 2 additional days since this video, and they've provided absolutely nothing to go off of it all. So, yeah, it's bad, and it's looking to only get worse.
Which leads to the next question players are starting to ask. Does this mode even belong in Genshin Impact at all? Because the pushback now extends beyond the gacha or the bugs, or maybe even the account suspension. It is starting to become about the mode's very existence inside the main Genshin client. We are seeing sentiment pop up, even suggestions for petitions asking Hoyoverse to make Miliastra Wonderland and even the TCG separate applications, separate downloads. Why? Well, as one player put it quite bluntly, they take up too much space, waste of time, useless, and a big waste of space. This taps into a growing feeling that Genshin Impact is becoming bloated, that these large, complex side modes feel less like fun additions and more like burdensome bloatware, unwanted software that takes up space and resources on your device.
This literally looks like the most dog shit gameplay I've like ever fucking seen. Like, why would I play this shit when I could just go play an actual fucking arena fighting game? Like that's just, people have options in the big 2025, and you're just asking people to play the most dog shit version of every game imaginable on this dog shit Miliastra Wonderland platform. What the fuck?
And players are feeling that acutely, especially on mobile, where storage space is limited. They're being forced to download potentially gigabytes of data for a mode they find buggy, unrewarding, and maybe can't even play properly due to performance issues.
So this is why Hoyoverse is never going to detach TCG or Wonderland from the main Genshin client. Because those game modes are attached to Genshin, anytime somebody opens up Genshin Impact, they can say that somebody opened up Miliastra Wonderland and Genius Invocation TCG. And then they can say, for their investors or whatever, look, we have such amazing playtime across all of our subsidiary game modes that we've added to Genshin Impact. Let's not totally talk about the fact that we're basically forcing people to fucking play it by having it installed 100% of the time. And like, that's just like, they're so desperate to keep those counts up. They're so desperate to make it, to like pretend that it's doing well, that they're basically doing the equivalent of like, this is like some shady business shit that they're doing by not decoupling them from Genshin. Because they know that if they decoupled UGC and they decoupled the TCG from the main Genshin client, nobody would fucking play them. Nobody. And it would prove that these are the worst expenditures that the company could have ever made. The only reason why they get played at all is because they're in the Genshin client. That's it.
Or platform restrictions like on PS4. It feels disconnected from the core Genshin experience. It has its own economy, its own progression. It doesn't give primo gems. It feels like a different game entirely, just tacked onto the side. And this feeling connects directly back to that earlier point about wasted resources.
Yep.
The frustration stems partly from development time, potentially being diverted from creating new maps or story content to build Miliastra Wonderland.
Or having good content in your actual fucking live stream instead of a 22-minute ad for the worst game mode ever made. Because that was the 6.1 live stream, a gigantic fucking ad for the worst game mode ever fucking made. And I'm like, dude, just looking at this B-roll is disgusting. Like, just seeing how dog shit all of these user-created modes are is nauseating. It looks so bad.
Added to that is the reality that ongoing game resources, like the player's own phone storage, are being occupied by a feature that many see as fundamentally unwanted and poorly executed. It raises the question of whether this approach of integrating massive, distinct side systems into the main game is sustainable, or if it's just creating resentment. So when you put it all together, the disastrous launch, the predatory...
Sorry, can I just take a look at that one more time? Bro, look at this gameplay.
Put it all together, the disastrous launch.
You got ping problems too, and bro fucking rubber banded back to his... Why would you play this?
Just creating resentment.
Look at this.
So when you put it all together...
Look at this right here. This looks like shit.
Disastrous launch, the predatory monetization, the buggy gameplay.
They managed to make the combat in Genshin look better. Because the combat in this is so bad, it makes Genshin's combat look good.
The wasted resources, the feeling of bloat, and then you add nearly a week of complete silence from Hoyoverse. Is it really surprising that things escalated? The temporary suspension of the official Miliastra Wonderland account, and the community basically laughing about it, saying it was deserved. These aren't isolated incidents.
What is that dude punching in the background, bro?
Saying it was deserved. These aren't isolated incidents. They feel like the predictable fallout. It is what happens when a launch fails this badly, and the company responsible chooses to say absolutely nothing in response. The initial failure was bad enough. The silence poured fuel into the fire, and what we're seeing now, I think, is a significant breakdown in communication, and more importantly, in trust. That silence is arguably doing more damage now than the flawed release itself. It suggests the company is either unwilling or unable to even acknowledge major player concerns when they are this loud and this clear.
Like we've always said, the Genshin devs will never actually put out a word on how they fucked things up until legal in China gets involved. That's it. They keep radio silence for every single time they objectively make the game worse, and they just hope that people will ignore it, because that's typically what happens when you've become too big to fail. And that is what Genshin Impact is. Genshin is too big to fail. And the only way for this game to become better, and I've said this for years, the only way for this game to become better is for it to lose rapidly a massive number of players. Because then the Hoyoverse developers will finally realize, oh, we're no longer too big to fail. We can't just keep shitting down our customers' throats, and they'll stop buying everything when we do that. Because right now, they can do the most dumb shit possible in terms of monetization, the most predatory shit ever, and people will still spend money on the game. And what would happen, the best thing that could happen for Genshin Impact and its future is for its player base to literally get fucking Thanos snapped, and for 50% of them to disappear. And Genshin would then become, over the next couple of months, the best version of Genshin it's ever been. But unfortunately, people don't realize that. They'll keep spending. They'll keep seeing the 50 pulls that they get per update and be like, wow, this is amazing. I can guarantee a character 2 times a year. And then they keep eating it up. Or, of course, spending thousands of dollars on the game. And it's just nauseating at this point that you know that nothing's going to change after this. It's going to be same and more of the usual. And that's probably the part that sucks the most.
Makes players feel like their feedback, their time, their investments just doesn't matter. This situation has moved beyond just needing bug fixes or tweaks to the gacha rates. This is now about managing a significant community relations failure. It is about rebuilding trust that has clearly been broken for a large portion of the player base, at least regarding this mode. And that really brings us to the core questions now. Do you think Hoyoverse's continued silence is making the situation worse?
Not really. I don't think so, because this is their modus operandi. This is what they do all the time. And the only thing that is going to help is they don't care about your feedback. All they care about is how much money you're putting in the game. And legitimately, genuinely, the only thing that you can do to make this game better is to stop spending money on it. And I feel like it doesn't matter how many times you say it. You know that's the only thing that works. Why do you think ZZZ listens so much, guys? Why do you think HSR... Actually, HSR doesn't really listen. They're still in the money milking stage. Why do you think ZZZ listens so much, guys? Why do you think ZZZ is always talking about addressing player concerns? It's because the game's doing fucking dog shit, right? Because they release such dog shit character designs and they don't have the revenue projections or the actual revenue that they're looking for. And so they're constantly scrambling, looking for ways to appease the player base. You want that same sort of dynamic for Genshin. But unfortunately, the biggest fans of the game are also the ones making it the biggest shit ever.
And at this point, nearly a week in, what could they realistically even say or do to begin repairing the trust that has been lost over Miliastra Wonderland? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but that is all from me, Glaive Kyo, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers!
Awesome video by Glaive going over the clear, awful dynamics that are playing out when it comes to Miliastra Wonderland, when it comes to Hoyoverse, when it comes to the past 2 years of this nonsense that we've been exposed to as players. I think that, yeah, Genshin Impact players are the ones that are killing the game currently. We all know the best ways to make it better, and I'm doing my part. I don't spend money on the game. Fuck it, I don't play the game. I am one of the strongest warriors trying to fix Genshin Impact. And believe me when I say this, if you're somebody that's playing the game and actively spending money on it, at this point, you just want it to get worse. Because you know how to fix this. You know how to actually get these devs off their lazy, paycheck-stealing bum asses and actually go make changes that will make the game better. But you need to stop spending money. And you need to stop playing. And then the developer will finally start making some changes. But you won't do that because you're a hopelessly addicted whale. And that's alright, right? It is what it is. But just know, you are the cause of this game's demise, and you're the reason why Hoyo thinks they can get away with some disgusting dog shit like this, and release it as a fucking product. What a joke. I'm glad that Glaive made so much of this video B-roll of the game modes, because you get to see firsthand, why the fuck would anybody play this, let alone spend even $1 on it? It's so bad. Let me know what you all thought. Peace.